Welcome to Royal Legacy, where we will explore the rich athletic history and deep family connections of BYU sports. Join us as we honor the past, celebrate the present, and look forward to the future of the BYU Cougars. Here's your host, Lauren McClain.
Welcome to Royal Legacy, where we dive deep into the family connections of BYU sports. Today's guests are Byron Rex and his sons Preston and Isaac, all who have each played a role in building a powerful football legacy at BYU. Byron laid the foundation as a Cougar, playing in 1986 as a freshman, and then from 89 to 92, decades later, his sons Preston and Isaac have carried the legacy forward. Isaac playing from 2019 to 2023, and Preston started in 2022 and will be entering his senior season this fall. Together, their journeys tell a story of faith, family, and what it means to represent BYU across generations. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Lauren, for having us.
Thank you, Lauren. It's been a long time coming, so I'm glad we get to do this. Let's get an update about what the three of you are up to now in life. Byron, let's start with you.
Well, nothing's changed for me over the last 20 years, it feels like. Just raising boys, but we're from San Clemente, California. We moved here, I think, 2007, if I remember correctly, with Isaac. I think it was a fourth grader or third grader. We came from Atlanta. Preston was just starting school, and then our youngest, Xander, was, I think, 2 years old at the time, 1 or 2 years old. So we've been here in San Clemente and raising boys. It's been a great place. It's fun to see the gospel grow in this area. We've had a couple employers, Dealer Socket with Jonathan Ord, another legacy family of football from BYU. Built a company here, hired a bunch of LDS folks, and then the word spread. And we've been blessed to be in a great part of Heavenly Father's vineyard, so to say, and watch the gospel grow in this area, and then raise our three boys. And we've had extended family around here as well, but and now we have two grandchildren. Isaac has two kids with Luca and Eliza, and we love being grandparents, my wife Amy and I. So that's the update for us.
That's got to be a big change, becoming grandparents. That's a big milestone. And Isaac, you're a parent now of two kids. That's got to be a little surreal. What are you up to now in life?
Not sleeping, working, and just kind of a boring life. Just kidding. No, it's dude, having two kids is the best thing ever. It's awesome. Now I'm working with PAX. I'm sure if you've watched any BYU game, you've seen the PAX logo everywhere. So amazing company. Yep. My wife, Lexi's killing it. We're out here in the Bay Area. So we just had Chase Roberts over the other day. He's out here training. I work with Matt Hadley, if you remember that name. Craig Bills is my boss. Matt Bushman, Harris LaChance all work for the same company. Like, we're all just kind of doing our thing out here, in California, trying to make a little bit of money, help out some patients. So it's been a really good experience so far. And so I couldn't be more grateful for where BYU set me up with life after football, but also with football.
It's got to be a little bit of a different pace going from football to working with a lot of old people, I would assume. A little bit of a different pace of life.
Yeah, probably the biggest different change in pace in anyone's career path. But it is it's great because I work with a lot of other, ex-athletes that we're all just trying to do our thing, and provide for our families. And I have something to talk to my boys about, So we actually made a group chat yesterday. Aiden Robbins is doing this down in South Carolina. Talmadge Gunther is in Arizona. We got a ton of just ex-BYU athletes that are kind of all working the same job, and we're just trying to figure it out, after being on the gridiron together. So it's definitely, it's tough. I'm not going to lie. We all miss playing football, but at least we're doing something. We got something to relate with each other on.
Absolutely. I love that you guys get to do that together. I think that's really cool because at some point, everyone's got to stop playing football, whether it's in several years from now or right now, it's going to happen, right? We just talked to the Collies about that same thing, how difficult that transition is no matter when you have to make it. Preston, let's talk to you. You just finished an incredible football season, 12 wins. You're about to head into spring camp. What's life like for you right now?
I'm just trying to dodge having a real job as long as I can. I see Isaac with his 2 kids, and that's awesome, great for him. But I'm gonna play football as long as I can. So we're just in our winter workouts right now with Coach Phyllis. He's running the show. I'm in my last semester in the business school at BYU. About to get my bachelor's in business management from the Marriott School. So, every 3:30, I'm just, going as hard as I can with Coach Phyllis in the weight room and just prepping everything for spring ball. It starts in March.
Good for you. That is a job, by the way. You can't sell yourself short. That's an incredibly hard job that you're doing right now. Byron, so you have 3 boys, is that right? 3 boys in the family?
Correct. That's all we have. 3 boys. Yeah. I'm not sure who's going to take care of me when I get older. So I got one great daughter-in-law, possibly another great one on the way. So I need great daughter-in-laws because no one's taking care of me when I get old.
Well, hey, Isaac knows a place. Isaac knows several places that could take good care of you, right, Isaac?
Isaac's got a spot.
If you have Medicare,
for me,
we'll take you.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly.
Comforting.
I'd rather be on his couch than I would be in maybe one of his beds. So anyway, no, it's all good.
Isaac,
but yes, 3 boys. We have 3 boys.
What an upbringing to have 3 boys, fairly close in age. Isaac, how competitive were you and Preston and your younger brother when you guys were growing up?
Oh, I was the biggest jerk to Preston in the entire world. I feel horrible actually nowadays, but I think I made him tough. And so we had a basketball court growing up, and I'm pretty sure every single day after school we'd go hoop in the backyard or playing football. And I was always bigger than Preston, I can't lie, but he was always a lot tougher, quicker. And he got to the point where he was starting to beat me in one-on-one in the backyard. And I was just getting frustrated, and I'd have to resort to my strong physical appearance in order to beat him in some areas. But he eventually caught up to me and started, getting a lot better than me in some areas. And we just would end up, fighting, slapping each other, just the normal, brotherly love. And we still do it to this day. Whenever we hang out with each other, whether we're singing karaoke, whether we're playing stupid games, we're competing with each other. And that's what you got to do as brothers. There's nothing better than hanging out, competing with your brother, And so, I got a son. I hope he has younger brothers one day. He has a younger sister. But when you're competitive with your siblings, it makes life a little bit more fun. So I'm grateful that I had a younger brother that I got to hang out with and be competitive with and play sports with, and eventually, be on the same team with for 2 years at BYU. It was such a fun experience.
Yeah, and I want to get into that. And it really is true. If you have a younger sibling, especially that's kind of creeping up on you, it pushes you to be the best you can, that's for sure. Preston, now that you guys are a little older, Isaac mentioned it a little bit, but I'm sure the sibling rivalry and competitiveness is alive and well. So what does that look like now? Do you guys go golfing? Do you play pickleball? What are some of the things you compete in now?
We're a big basketball family. If any of us were a little taller, like Isaac, then if I was 6'6", you would see me on the basketball court for sure. But we're spike ball people. You guys spike ball is, right?
Yeah.
It's the perfect beach game, and we live in San Clemente, so every time it's rare we can get together, we go to the beach and play spike ball. I'm usually teamed up with Isaac's wife, Lexi, actually, and then it's tough to get a win, but a lot of smack talk. It doesn't end in tears anymore, which is good. Growing up in the backyard hooping, it was usually I would score a point and then Isaac would bully me. He'd push me over. I throw the ball as hard as I can at him. Then he hits me or he gets physical with me, and then I'm crying to mom, and then I run to mom, and he gets in trouble. And then I took all that frustration out on Xander, our little brother. So, whatever we're doing, just like Isaac said, we sing a lot of karaoke. We played spike ball. We're not huge pickleball players, but it's always competitive, but it's always a great time as well, just knowing that we love each other, and it's all in good fun.
The tears at least don't flow in front of each other now. Maybe behind, when you go home.
Maybe.
But at least you're not running to your mom now. So fun. What a fun family. For a lot of fans, as you guys know, BYU football is life, and the Rex name is one that gets people really excited. Like when you see the Rex name on the back of Preston's jersey when he gets put in as running back in the Arizona game, there's a sense of, oh, it's a Rex. We got this. We're going to be good. Byron, what has it meant to you to watch your boys follow a path that once meant so much to you yourself?
Oof, that's a great question. It brings back a lot of memories, for sure. It just meant so much. I've said this before, and been lucky enough to do some different work with Dave and some of the other guys, at BYU. But it was the way I learned so much from Lavelle, Coach Chow, and that group, and just became, before you used to go to BYU as a true freshman out of high school before you went on a mission, because you went on a mission in 19. So between that freshman, and I only went for a semester, and my mission, like I really grew up. I have a wonderful dad, taught me the gospel, and I needed just to implement it on my own. And those are the two places where it was implemented, what my dad taught me. And so I just followed essentially that same path. And so it meant a lot. We chose football as a way to teach eternal principles of the gospel of, getting knocked down, getting back up, right? Being a great teammate, great husband, great, father. Just all the things, being smart, right? You have to be super intelligent to play this game. All of those things, physically, fit, all the things that come with it. And I'm grateful to Isaac. So Isaac's the oldest of three, which everybody knows. But the reality is he's the oldest of 26 grandchildren on my side and several more on my wife's side, all of which are still coming along. So my youngest son, Xander's on his mission in Dallas right now, serving the Lord. And then when he gets back, he'll play. And then I just had a nephew who was my brother's younger son, Jackson Rex, who was just offered for BYU, from BYU. So I assume, he'll play at BYU too. So the Rex name sort of continues on. Little did I know when I was an 18-year-old freshman in the dorms at Helaman Halls that all this would, go around and around again. But I'm eternally grateful, literally, for what BYU specifically, as well as the football program, taught me as a young man growing up.
Isaac, when you were playing at BYU, how often did you rely on your dad for advice and encouragement, since it's something that he'd done before?
Oh, every day, man. It was it's crazy when you're on the field with your brother and you got your dad who knows what it's like to be on the field. They're with you through the good and the bad, and football is such a up and down game. I could think of so many times where I had so many great experiences playing football. I remember it was, I broke the touchdown record. It was like a 40-year record. I was so happy. And then I get to go to the sidelines and my brother's waiting there for me and like consoling or, hugging me, hanging out with me, couldn't be more happy for me. And, stuff like that, you can't replicate anywhere else.
Preston, you got to be on the same team as your older brother for a couple of years. How did he help you get your feet under you and to kind of teach you the ropes when you got to BYU?
Yeah, so when I came to BYU, I started off as a free safety. I was recruited and came in, played a little bit, in the secondary. So Isaac and I, we didn't get a ton of, one-on-one time. We didn't get to communicate or interact very much at practice, just on a day-to-day basis. But I could tell that the example was there. Isaac was doing this thing over on the offense. And that's what I'm very grateful for, is that Isaac just set the example of me, working hard, trusting the coaches, the process, and letting the success, speak for itself. So Isaac, he wasn't a rah-rah guy. We left that to Tyler Batty when I first came. But, Isaac, he would just ball out, and it was something that was very important for me to learn, to just watch how Isaac worked hard and, he trusted his coaches. He worked on his techniques, his everything that comes with being a tight end. It was good for me to just learn and just to watch, more than anything.
I think you guys were on BYU Sports Nation back in like 2022, and you were talking to Jeremy Spencer about having a family group text called The Clown Show. I'm curious if that is still a thing, if it's still named that, or if it's shifted a little bit over the years.
This is the head clown right here.
Yeah, we were. I think my daughter-in-law Lexi, Isaac's wife, she helped create it. But no, it is still the clown show. In fact, Xander's been on his mission since July, and he was on it forever. And then somehow it got a little bit mixed up. So now it's the new clown show. But yes, it is the clown show, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. So we'll just add Xander back in, and Lexi obviously has been added in, and then if we have Preston has a really good friend named Ray that we like her a lot, and whoever gets added into the Rex clan is part of the clown show. So yeah, it's just a funny way to look at life, and football teaches you a lot about life. Preston said it. We're all here together, just working to get along and make life better, so we can be families forever. And so, yep, Preston's not lying right there.
There it is. Still titled The Clown Show.
Look at this clown right here. Just head on this freak.
Wow. So good. So good. Byron, take us back to the beginning. Long before you were a dad watching your boys play, when did football become a passion for you?
Oh, geez. Well, Preston said it best. We're a basketball family, weirdly enough. My dad is a 6'6". Isaac got all my dad's height. My dad's a really tall, lanky basketball player. So I loved basketball growing up. And, I used to play at the church all the time, and my dad would go down and we would shoot, and I'd watch him play, ward basketball and just all the good things that go along with that. And I was I played all sports and that's the thing I miss about kids these days. I just played everything, and that included high school. I played all three sports like that. I don't know if you can do that anymore, and certainly not at the highest level. So that's too bad. But as an 8th grader, I was at this decision point. I was playing summer basketball and having a really good time. We were surfing and doing other things, so I enjoyed doing all kinds of different things. But it came time for August, and I wasn't sure if I was going to play football, and I just wanted to play basketball. And my dad said, "Hey, you should just play football to make you tougher for basketball." And I thought, that actually kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? So I went out for the for the football team, and I knew some of the kids because I played when I was younger, and, you play flag football. I played a year Pop or two Pop Warner. So I knew the kids, and we were all, friendly in the Long Beach area where I grew up. So, but then your body sort of tells you what your sport you're going to play. And it didn't take long before I did not get my dad's height. And I'm like, well, basketball is fun in high school, but not going to last very long. So, and football just became more of a passion. And then the camaraderie, the teammates, everything like that. And then I remember distinctly, and back then you didn't get calls or anything. I got a letter from BYU, right? An envelope with a helmet on it. It's probably in some box in my parents' house still to this day, but it was from BYU saying, "Would love for you to, come play with us." And I was like, "Holy smokes, are you kidding? I could play this game in college? That's great." And I've never looked back. And then some of my best friends, to this day, I spoke of Jonathan Hord, Matt Redden, let alone the long history of people. John Beck leaves. I could, hit a driver to his house, and Dennis Pitta is in the stake. And I mean, the list is just so long of guys. I'll leave people out that live in this area that I keep in contact. I remember, Chad Lewis coming in and Matt Bushman, his son-in-law, is over at the house, for New Year's. I mean, the tentacles and the relationships that you build, that I built, and that I think a lot of us built from BYU is amazing. Something that Isaac will get to enjoy. Preston, they're both already enjoying it, obviously, but we've had family friends for literally a lifetime that have all played with us. So the passion continued, not only of football, but specifically BYU football. So
that's really cool. And it is obviously showing with Isaac. He has all those connections in the business that he's in right now. But I love that you mentioned all the sports you guys played growing up, because that is getting more and more rare. You guys, I think, played football, basketball, baseball, and track. Preston, I know you also play piano. Is that right?
Yes.
How good are you at piano?
I play a little bit of piano.
He's good. Don't let him. This is all his mom. Amy taught him well and made sure he took lessons. And Preston, all I know is this: when Bear and Tiger ask you to be in their band because they've seen Preston play, you know you're good. So there you go. That's the latest.
It was the Arizona game. We stayed in a really nice hotel in Tucson. It's like a JW Marriott. It was like this giant resort, and there was a big grand piano in there. So like I don't know who's watching, I don't know who's around, but like, let me show everyone what I got for a sec. The Tiger comes up and he offered me a scholarship to their band. Um, so that was
Did you
probably the
accept?
highlight of any. I actually didn't know. Uh, I was the ward pianist in a couple areas on my mission, but it's not like I can sight read. I'm not very good at sight read anymore. I haven't taken lessons, since like uh, probably my sophomore year of high school. But if I had a Saturday night after we got home, just to practice the hymns, then I could play it in the ward. So yeah, I play a little bit of piano here and there.
That's impressive. What do you like about having other interests and talents outside of football? Because I think that's important.
Yeah, I think it's important as well. I think it's a cool thing to be well-rounded in life. Football ends for everyone at some point or another. Hopefully you can play as long as your body allows, but football is just going to end. So it's important that you take advantage of life in general. I think Isaac and my dad have been a great example of that for me. So, whenever I have some free time, I like to devote a lot of it to, getting extra work, whether it's in the film room, in the weight room. But you always have a little bit of time on your hands. I think it's good to be well-rounded in life, just, preparing for the future when football ends.
Absolutely. Obviously, football was the sport that prevailed. And Byron, I feel like it's maybe not every dad's dream, but a lot of dads' dreams that love sports to have these boys that end up loving sports just like you do. And that's kind of miraculous because they can come out however they are. I have two boys of my own, completely different personalities. So the fact that you had these boys that love sports and want to follow in your footsteps, what point did you realize that Isaac and Preston were good enough to continue to pursue this at the next level?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I, you know, it, it's an insult to any of these players to say, "Oh my gosh, he's so naturally gifted," or "Oh my gosh, he was born that way," or "Yeah, God blessed him that way," or "It's amazing that he had that blessing of X." Like these kids work so hard from such a young age, and just put their dreams out there. And obviously, it's awesome when it's part of your dream or you could really help facilitate it along the way. If Preston's dream was piano and that's all he wanted to do, certainly Amy and I would have supported him 100% in that, or whatever the kids wanted to pursue. But it happened to be something that I knew something about, could help them along the way and sort of push them along or steer them in a direction to say, hey, if you really want to do this, this is what you need to do, or will help you. So yes, a dream is the understatement of the day, but it is also a way to connect. And there would have been other ways to connect, right? We connect in the gospel, certainly. Isaac and I connect as a parent. Preston and I connect on all different things, but it is still Monday night. Was it Monday night? What night was it? Arizona versus BYU. The clown show fires up, and it starts with who's watching the game, because somebody might be recording it, somebody might be doing something else. Sometimes Isaac's like at Young Men's, and I'm at a Bishopric meeting or something like that, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, who's watching? And then people chime in, I'm in, and then it's just, and then it's just we're like we were teenagers and kids again watching a BYU game on TV and commenting on how we would have done this better or that better, and just reliving, the day. So no matter what it is, connecting with your kids, obviously, and for dads, boys, there's a special bond and relationship there. My wife was 100% supportive, chimes in on all the stuff too, sends articles about, great things. But yeah, it's certainly a dream. And I knew that the boys wanted that dream and wanted to work hard towards it. And then it was up to them at that point. And then they got their mom's athletic ability. So off they went. So very simple from there.
Preston, football comes with a lot of pressure, expectations, and setbacks, as you know. How do you try and maintain a balance in your life to not let that overtake you and become who you are?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that my upbringing in San Clemente, California, actually helps me really deal with, the ups and downs of football. When you grow up surfing, you kind of take on the mentality of a surfer, and that's something that Coach Hill, before he, took the other job, he would explain to us like, hey, just be a surfer. When a surfer catches the wave, he experiences the peak and the lows and the crashes. Um, but the wave isn't beautiful because you rode it or it lasts forever. It's awesome because it happened, man. You get to do that over and over again. So that's something that, just growing up, it's been instilled with me. With my dad and Isaac, just to enjoy the moment. I think just being where your feet are, it makes you grateful for everything, the ups and downs, because that clash between the two is really just a beautiful thing. So
I think that's beautiful advice. Take on the mentality of a surfer and you're going to be okay. I like that a lot. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about adversity, faith, and how football fits into the bigger picture of family and resilience. This is Royal Legacy. Want to know what drives BYU's greatest athletes? Deep Blue takes you beyond the stats and into the stories. Host Jason Shepard sits down with Cougar legends and rising stars to uncover what makes them tick. New episodes every Tuesday. Subscribe to Deep Blue wherever you get your podcasts.
And now back to Royal Legacy and your host, Lauren McClain.
Welcome back to Royal Legacy. I'm Lauren McClain here with BYU football family Byron Rex and his sons Isaac and Preston. Preston, how did watching Isaac go through his injuries and setbacks and be able to bounce back the way, just even in life, how has that affected you and how you approach football?
Yeah, I mean, football is not a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. Basketball is a contact sport if you play it right. It really is a risk. There's no avoiding that. That's the truth about football. It's a risk on your body. It takes a toll for sure. I kind of mentioned this earlier. I think Isaac going through that injury, it was a good example to me. And I tore my ACL 2 seasons ago as well. So I kind of got a glimpse of what Isaac had to go through. It just helps you to enjoy the present moment. You never know, how your body will treat you. Sometimes football is just like the girlfriend that doesn't love you back. You just give it so much and you don't get anything in return, and that's okay. I think Isaac was a great example of resilience and just enjoying where you're at, because you never know what's going to happen, and that's the risk that you take when you play football. So Isaac had a great attitude about it. He was a great example to me. And I was just so proud as a little brother, like it's my older brother, man. Seeing him break the records, man, it was an emotional time for us as a family, and it was, it all ended up working out, which was great. And then that's a great lesson to learn as well. Isaac, when you work hard, you're resilient, you push through, it all worked out in the end. So Isaac was a great example to me in that regard.
Byron, down the line, what do you hope people remember about the Rex family story as you hear your sons talk about their experience and the things they've been through? What do you hope people remember about it? And it's like you mentioned, it's also continuing. It's going to continue. But what's your hope for that?
No, great question. I really hope that, and I know this about Isaac and Preston already, and the same thing goes for Xander, my youngest, my nephew, Jackson, everyone. I just, like so many people at BYU, you mentioned the Gafusis. We love them. We love the Collies. We love all these families that you've had on. I hope that they always take pride in their last name. And I hope that people always remember them as just great teammates and great people and great kids. That's all I hope they remember. Yeah, the touchdowns and Isaac's record, that'll eventually be broken, no doubt about it. The All-American status and the Freshman of the Year stuff that Isaac, it'll all come and go. And Preston, playing both sides of the ball and, leading us in tackles one year and, making a great play against Utah. All that stuff just sort of fades into the background. It always does. But the friendships and the people you meet along the way, and Kalani has done an absolutely amazing job, as Lavelle did before him, of setting a culture of love that will last a lifetime. And my guess is even past this life, right? And I could go down the list. I just mentioned a few names of people that you've had on this list that we know well and love and try to emulate because of the friendships that we made, the love that we share with them, the common bond of football and BYU that will last certainly throughout this lifetime and probably well into the next one or wherever we go, because those things last forever. That's the legacy, I hope. The football plays and players come and go. They remember them, they don't remember them. That's not any part of it. It's just about, football and friends and family that you make along the way.
That's the perfect way to end this. I'm here with Byron, Isaac, and Preston Rex. You guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're so busy. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. You guys are amazing. Thanks again.
Thanks, Lauren. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks to Christy Solomon for producing this episode with senior producer Terry South. Royal Legacy is a production of BYU Broadcasting. Tune in wherever you listen to podcasts.